We are going to get started with Word. So the Tiger Software Suite comes with three main components. That is a Word add-in, an Excel add-in, and then also Tiger Designer. There's also a lot of other tools that come with it as well, um, but the uh, the three main things we see people use is Word, Excel, and Tiger Designer. We also have a standalone translator if you're using other programs. We have QuickPaw if you like to do the 6-key entry. Um, and we can go over those at the end if we have additional time. But let's go ahead and get started here. So as you install the Tiger Software Suite, what that's going to do is on the top menu, that's going to give you the Tiger ribbon. So the Tiger ribbon is everything you need for translating. This is going to give you all your profile settings, all your translation settings, how it's going to display the Braille, and then also print settings. And then we have help here, which is going to have like deactivate, manual. It might be activated there if you haven't activated yet. It's going to be the quick paw, and also check for updates. If you have not checked for updates this year, this is a great time to check for updates because we release updates about every 3 weeks. Um, there's been a lot of 3 weeks over the summer, so welcome back. If you check for updates, you'll get all kinds of new goodies that we have working on over the summer. Um, getting started here, we have the profile. Right now I have the default profile selected. You can open that profile settings. You can create a new one. You can delete this one. You can import profiles or export profiles. If you want to export, you just hit the export button. That's going to ask you what you want to save it as. And so this is default.tgr. So this is a Tiger profile. Import is the same way. When you click on import, it's going to ask you to select a file you want to import. Create and delete is pretty self-explanatory, but if we click on open, this is what I have set up as my default profile. That doesn't mean that it's the default that comes with it, but you can make those settings and change them. Cancel this real quick. So if you save additional profiles here, this will also save them in the dropdown. The nice part about the dropdown is if you have multiple students, let's say you have one student that's doing grade 1 contractions, one student that's doing grade 2 contractions, you can set up a profile for grade 1. You can set up a profile for grade 2, or if you have two machines. I frequently see districts that have an Elite with a Color Ink Connect, or with an Ink Connect or a Color Ink Connect. I also see districts that will have a Columbia running right next to it. And so sometimes you'll set up a profile for this is how I want to print to my Columbia. The Columbia is going to have no ink. The Columbia is going to be double-sided. It's going to have really high resolution on the Braille or on the tactographics with 100 dpi. And maybe in the Elite, you're going to want different settings on the ink. So lots of different reasons to set up different profiles. But to edit a profile, you click on Open. And it's broke down into a couple different tabs. First tab here we have is Braille settings. And what that's going to do is that's going to adjust all of the things like what language are you translating into? Is that grade 1 or grade 2? So we have English here. We sell these all over the world, so there are tons of languages that you can select. Grade 1 or grade 2, so English Unified. Grade 2 is the one that I use. And then you also can adjust your contraction table. Right now I have it set up as all contractions. If I want to edit this, I can uncheck specific boxes here. Say if I want to uncheck the UAB strong group sign, I can uncheck that and it unchecks everything. Or if I just want to uncheck certain ones, I can uncheck those and click OK. If I click OK, it's going to ask me what to save it as. I'm going to say modified. Click OK. And then that's going to give me that in the dropdown, which I can select here. I don't want to have that because it's kind of a weird table to set up. So I'm just going to say all contractions. Math type, for example here. So we have Nemeth on here. We have UAB technical. If you want, you can use the MathCat instead of the LibLouis tables. So you can go ahead and choose however you'd like the um, math to be translated there. Um, Also, if you want to take out all capitals, to jumbo braille, you can check these boxes here: preserve italics, preserve bold, preserve underline, or hyphenate. Um, so some of these can be helpful to get exactly the translation that you want. I have this set up exactly the way I want for braille. The next one I want to go to is the ink settings tab. So currently, printer I'm printing on here, Rogue Sheet. Okay, so the Rogue Sheet does not print ink. Um, But you can do two-pass printing with the Rogue Sheet. So I'm going to say interline original text. And this basically just shows up, or it asks whether you want the Braille uh, to have the ink show up with it as well. So I do on this one, and I want Arial font. I want that to be a 12-point font. I want that to be positioned above the Braille. Um, so that's how the ink settings are going to set up. If you have an ink connect, a color ink connect, we now have released the color ink connect on the Columbia. So if you have a Columbia that you would like to put a color ink connect on, that is a great addition that can allow two ink and braille or tactographics all in one pass. Uh, so a couple cool things there. Page layout, this is very similar to like a standard page layout of, do you want it to be portrait or landscape orientation? What is your paper size? What is your margins? And also you want to select your printer. So I have a lot of printers installed on here. We have a lot of printers at Plus, so there's a lot of them installed. Document settings is how you want it to adjust adjust the document. So we have translate header, move the headers, so don't translate them all, don't change them, clear them. Same thing for the footers. And also you have show original page numbers. So if you want to put the page numbers on there, this box here will add the page numbers to the bottom, the last line of the page, but it will be all in its own line. If you do show Braille page numbers inline, it will put all of the text up until about 5 characters away from the page number, and then it'll say the page number. So that way that you get almost an extra line of text per page if you want to check that one. This one is more standard to have checked, but we leave those options up to you of however you want to set that up. Once you get done, you can go ahead and hit save. And so save this as the default profile. Any questions on this so far? I know I've moved fast. I'm going to try to cover a lot of stuff today. So figured we'd cover a lot of stuff. We'd go over questions whenever somebody had questions. Okay. Perfect. So the next thing we want to do, so next thing is starting to translate something. So let's say the quick fox jumped over the fence. And so doesn't matter where you get the text from. If you want to copy and paste it, you can do that. Or if you want to type it out, you can do that as well. You go to the tiger menu, and it's literally as simple as hit translate document. What this is going to do is going to ask you to save the document. I'm going to go ahead and save this to, so we're here. Go ahead and save this to the desktop where it's nice and easy to find, save. So what we have here is exactly what we set up. So we have grade 2 Braille. We have the quick brown fox jumped over the fence. We have the ink in Arial. So this is Arial 12-point font that is shown above the Braille. And also, so yeah, we have text and Braille. If we would like to add a tactographic in here, It's literally just as simple as you click on insert. You can insert pictures, online pictures, and I'm going to say Fox cartoon. And let's pick this little guy. He looks happy. Happy to be back at school. And so I'm going to make that bigger to where it fills most of the page. Then tactile graphics, you don't need to translate. You can insert them before the translation, after the translation, however you want to do that. I tend to like to do it after the translation because I feel like I can modify the document a little bit easier, but it is personal preference. So from here, we can just hit Control P, and this is going to be to the rogue sheet. So Control P is for print, and I can hit print. Save this to the desktop again. I call this Fox, and this is going to make a PRN file. That's new. I have not seen those before. Fresh here. And if we open up the Fox, so we have the Braille on here. This printed to the Rogue, which doesn't print ink, so you would have to print the ink to your color printer, and then print it to the Rogue. This one here I had set up to do the color pattern fill. So the orange of the Fox is showing up orange. And so if I wanted to make a change to this, you can go back to the Tiger menu. I can say reload original document, and this is going to reload the document clear back to before we did the translation. So I'm going to reload the document. I'm going to say don't save. So we have the quick brown Fox. I'm going to say the quick orange. And it's literally as simple as just hitting retranslate. And we can reinsert our pictures. Oops. I don't want to do orange Fox. I want to do Fox cartoon. Insert. I made that picture too big, so I'll make it a little bit smaller. Get it all on one page. Perfect. So from here, we can do Control P again, hit print, desktop, orange Fox. And so now we have new Braille. Now we have the orange Fox here with the orange patterns. So yeah, tactile graphics plus Braille, all in one document. Also, so tactile graphics are pretty easy to do. The other thing too, so I'm going to reload the original document here. Say don't save. So I'm going to pretend that we have our text. Also, you can translate all kinds of fun stuff in here. So if you go to insert up in the insert menu on here, one of the things you can insert is equations. And so if you select the drop down and you can select one of these, so I'm going to do the quadratic formula. Then when you click on the Tiger menu and hit translate document, this also will do the same thing of translating the quadratic formula into Braille. So very fun stuff to if you're doing math, tactile graphics, standard Braille. We have a lot of different options there. Any questions on Word before we move into Excel? Okay. By a group this morning. Let's go into Excel. Excel tends to be the other really popular tool that we see used quite a bit. So with that, Excel, kind of the main thing I see this used for is pie charts, bar charts, things like that. Things or plotting. So if you want to do like plotting a parabola, you can do that with Excel. Um, but I'm going to do, since it's back to school, we're going to say science, math. Actually, yeah, let's do math, um, art. And these are going to be the kids that signed up for each class. I always liked math, so I'm going to make math the most popular one. And art, we can put it 16. Um, so if we make a pie chart, uh, just like we would uh, with Excel. So far, this is basically just a normal Excel. Students, student classes. Now, if we go over to the Tiger menu looks pretty much exactly the same, but it's a little bit different. It does have some of the translation stuff uh, not shown here, so um, it doesn't have the ability to revert that back to the original because it makes a ton of extra tabs. Um, the profile settings are exactly the same, but you will need to set up the profile settings in Excel separately from Word. So if you select you want Jumbo Braille in Word, you'll need to copy that over to Excel. So here I have English, I have grade 2. Um, actually, I have English United States, which I usually do English Unified. Here, I do grade 2, then I can select my contraction tables here. So um, page layout. So again, this is what size page you want. So 8.5 by 11. Landscape mode, same thing. Rogue sheet. Um, Now what you want it to do to the header or the footer, and you can go ahead and click save. So this is my default setting for that. Anytime that you translate something in Excel, uh, you need to move the chart over to its own sheet. So it's real simple to do that. You can just right click on the chart, select move chart, say to its own sheet, click OK. What that's going to do is that's going to have the chart down here and the sheet down here. It needs to do that for translation purposes. So if you go back to the Tiger menu and hit translate document, again, it's going to ask if you want to translate all the sheets. And we're going to get a lot of sheets here. So we have the chart one, the sheet one. So this is the original. This one's also the original. We have the chart in Braille, and then we have the chart in ink. We have the sheet in Braille, and we also have the sheet in ink. So we've done that so that way that if you want to print, let's say you want to print this one to an ink printer, and then turn around and print this one to a rogue sheet, that will align the ink up directly with the Braille. So that way it makes it nice and easy. Same thing for the chart. If you want to do the Braille to the like a rogue sheet, and the ink to like an office like Kyocera or something like that, you can print to get ink and Braille on there as well. But once you have this, you can just hit Control P, just like always. We're going to print this to the rogue sheet and hit File Print. And this one is students, classes, and hit save. And classes. And so with this, uh, we have the Braille. We've got the key down here, and we also have um, the color pattern fill. So I know that this one here, because I worked with these patterns a lot, I know that this pattern here is going to be green. I know this one over here is blue. and this one's orange. So if we go back to Excel, we have green, blue, and orange. The nice part about that is those patterns are consistent. So once you set your patterns, right now I'm using the VP7 pattern library. Once you set those patterns, it'll keep that across the entire system. So very, very cool to be able to set that stuff up and then have that keep the patterns system wide. As far as Excel goes, I mean, you can use this for anything if you want to create like a line, a graph in Excel. I chose a pie chart today. You can do parabolas. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. Does anybody have any questions on Excel before we move into Tiger Designer? Okay. Tiger Designer is I like Tiger Designer because it allows you to edit a lot of stuff. So if I close, let's see. So like let's say this one here. Um, with Tiger Designer, we have a lot of tools here. So this is one of the updates. So if you haven't done this yet, or if you haven't done an update yet, your Tiger Designer will look different, but it has the dot heights. So we have dot height 0, which we brought back. We had a lot of people that had asked for dot height 0. Dot height 0 is great. If you want to erase something, and so I usually use dot height 0 here with like squares, and like if I don't want this border, I could just select the border and it would make dot height 0, which was great. I could do more dot height 0 over here, which is basically an eraser tool, but you can use all kinds of other tools with that. So dot height 0 is great. You also have the pen tool. And basically you select your tool over here on the right, and you select your dot height over here on the left. So if you want to do dot height 1 with the pen tool, this is going to allow you to draw freehand with the lowest dot height that we have. And you can increase your dot heights to dot height 2. Dot heights are very gradual. So you will, let's see, so if we go dot height 1, dot height 2, space, 3, 0. There we go. Dot height 4. 5, 6, and 7. So we have different dot heights. The great thing about that is the different dot heights allow you to convey that much more information. So you can choose, you have the pen tool. We have the brush tool, which is very similar to the pen tool. It's just a wider swath. We also have the line tool. This line tool is just if you want to, if you draw lines like I draw lines where they're very wavy, you can make straight lines there with this. Again, you can select whatever dot height you want. So we have dot height 3, I have dot height 7. The blue here is kind of reserved for Braille, so you can't really draw with it. But you can do Braille, you can add text up here. I have testing in here. I have it set up to where this is going to do grade 2 contraction, Braille 36, and horizontal. And so that's going to insert this into, so we have testing up here. And that's kind of reserved for the blue Braille dots. We also have the squares, which you can do in different dot heights. Also, if you want to select a lower dot height, we have the filled square. So you can create this, and then as you hold shift on here, it changes your rectangle into a square. We have the multi-dot heights there. We have circle or oval. Oval is going to be exactly the same to where you can make a ellipse, or you can do a circle by holding shift. And then the fun part is we have the fill. So you can create a box here with really high dot height, and then you can say I want low dot height. We're gonna fill this here with this, so that fills with a different dot height. And then we have the pattern fill, so you can select whatever pattern you want. So I have brown, I have red, yellow, or orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. We have red bricks, so I'm going to choose red bricks. I always like the red bricks pattern, and I'm going to put that over here in the circle. So it does the red bricks, and that's kind of like a paint. It's the same as the paint bucket, as long as it has a container that is uh, going to hold that pattern. It'll fill that just fine. Couple of cool things here. So let's see. I'm going to take the big square. This through here. We're going to delete some stuff out of here. Delete. 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 Cool. So we have basically back to the original document. If you want to make shapes, traditionally we've always had it set up to where, making a shape was you'd have to freehand draw the shape of, okay, I've got this here. And you can make a triangle, which is nice, but then the problem you run into is that you can't really adjust it and you can't really move it too much. So we have now come up with this objects. We need to switch this over to a different file. Now open up a new Tiger Designer. File, new. So if you want to do shapes, you have to do the TSX instead of a PRN. And we're going to do the Tiger Plus. And so now you can do tools, objects, and I can do like a triangle. And with that, you can resize the triangle. You can adjust the different size of it, and you can also rotate the triangle. So depending on what it is you're trying to make, you can do that. The other thing too is we have several different objects in here. So we have the line, we have an arrow, a pin, an ellipse, a triangle, and a rectangle. The one that I usually like to do is so make the line bigger, rotate it horizontally, tools, objects for doing another line, and I'm going to rotate this one a little bit. And so you can create things like angles. But if you go over here to ellipse, create ellipse, and I'm going to make this bigger. And with this one here, it's kind of got like a piece of the ellipse missing. So you can move this, which will take part of that out. And then up here, you can rotate it. And so you can rotate this for angles. That's probably way too big. So I can shrink this down a little bit. We're going to move this over here. Actually, want to rotate this too. And so you can, if you're talking about angles, you can make that. And once you're done, you can take and go transform. You can say flatten all objects. And so that becomes a flattened object that you can then use the selection tool. And you can say selection to object. And now this becomes its own object in here. So you can move that around. So we've taken a part of it, or we've taken one object, or we've taken three objects, which was a horizontal line, a 45-ish degree line, and the arc showing that. And then you can move this around. You can duplicate this, Control C, Control V. So if you have, if you have an X, Y axis or something like that you want to use, you can make several different versions of that. The other thing too, delete this one out of here. As we're creating objects, so tools, objects, I'm going to create a line in here. Whatever you have selected over here is what that will be. in the object. So as I make it bigger, if you wanted to make, let's take this, we're going to do a dot height 7. So let's say you had this here. I'm going to make another line, tool objects here. And we're going to make this one horizontal. Make it bigger. Bigger. There we go. So we have an XY axis. If you wanted to add in even some different lines here, let's say tools, objects, add another line in here, add this in as a very low dot height. It's up here, this down here. Take Control C, Control V, another one of these over here, lower dot height. Here, lower dot height. Make kind of some dot height. And then I'm going to rotate one of these horizontally, and I can do the horizontal lines. Whoops. Keep the same size there. Rotate this one. Let's do that one. This one here, lower dot height. This one. I promise this will look cool in a second. But if there we go. Okay, so we have kind of an XY axis here. I know it looks really messy, but here I can go to tools and or transform, flatten all objects. So we kind of have an XY axis that you can take then the selection tool, the selection here, transform selection object. So Control C, Control V, and you have, oops, and you'll have different different ways to create like XY axis if you want to do that as well. Also, let's see what else is there. So in here we have the dots option. So let's say that let's say we go find an image online. We're gonna make a cartoon image online. Let's see, let's say surfer dude. Images, cartoon. There we go, this guy. I'm gonna do a print screen. We're just gonna take a screenshot of this guy. Where did that screenshot go? Print screen. Snipping tool. Let's try this one. New. There we go. And I should be able to take this and hit save to desktop. Okay, we have Surfer Dude now. So we can take Tire Designer. And go File, New. Now we can drag Surfer Dude in here. It's going to ask us a lot of questions on Surfer Dude. So say, do we want to adjust the brightness or the contrast or the edges? I resize. I can resize this. So I want to see all of Surfer Dude here before we go adjusting him. And you can adjust some of the brightness here. Contrast. And usually when I do this, I try to pay attention to like certain parts, like the dots. If the dots start showing up in places I don't really want, so I adjust certain things like the contrast, which kind of like this, but I think I'm going to bring the brightness back up just a little bit. And then you can also adjust the edges a little bit in here too to clean those up. Sometimes if you adjust the edges, it'll so if you look like around his thumb, the edges look pretty clean right now. If I start to increase the edges, they get a little bit blurry. So I'm gonna leave the edges all the way down. And I'm gonna click apply. And so that's how we bring in an image. We can definitely edit it in here. But the cool thing is with the new dots ability. So this has all the different dot heights, but we can also remove dots. So let's say that let's say we want to go through and remove. I want to remove the sand out of here. So I can take and do a selection here. I'm going to select just the sand, or as little of the sand as we can. And then I can go to dots here. Say remove dots. This has all 7 dot heights in the selection that I have. This to me looks, it's not dot height 7 or dot height 6. I think it's going to be dot height 5. Nope. Isn't really that one. Let's do Control Z. Oops. Do selection again. Transform. Dots. Or no. There we go. So if you wanted to remove the dots from the sand, you can see a majority of them were dot height 3. But what that did is that left the dot height 1 or 2, which was his feet, the dot heights in the surfboard. So very functional tool to be able to remove some of the dot heights out of there. Oh, hold on one second. So yeah, we've actually covered a lot here this morning. I want to take a quick little break here. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, cool. So some of the other stuff too that you can do for editing. So as far as Tiger Designer goes, you can do a lot of things with like flipping the image. So you can flip this vertically if you wanted to, or flip that back because that looks goofy upside down. But if I wanted to mirror it, you can mirror the image over the other side. There may be a reason that you want to mirror that image. So we can go ahead and leave it that way. You can also rotate it. So if you want to rotate the image, you can rotate it 4 times to bring it back to the size you want. Also on pages, there's a lot of different things you can do. Like let's say that you're printing on a tractor feed machine. You can go in here to pages and hit preferential line, and you can just say add to all pages. And what that's going to do is that's going to add a very high or a very dense high dot on the bottom of the page. So basically that means that if you have an uncut roll of tractor feed paper, that makes a perforation line where you can tear that. Also, as far as, let's see, I think that's about it for kind of a jumping back into it for Tiger Designer. But I did want to go over this too real quick. So let's say that let's say you're comfortable with another program. You're comfortable with Photoshop, or you're comfortable with Illustrator, or uh, say you're like me and you like to use Microsoft Paint. Um, so you can print from anything in these. So if I am comfortable with Microsoft Paint and I want to draw, uh, I'm going to start here. I'm going to draw some mountains. Oops. Some more mountains here. Okay, so we've got mountains there. I'm going to do the sun's up here. We're just kind of making up a whole bunch of stuff here as we're going here. We're going to put some clouds in the sky. I know these are thought bubbles, but I can go back in here later and erase the clouds. Or erase, there you go. Now they're just clouds. Um, sort of. I messed that one up, so I can take my pen. Maybe. So we have clouds. We have that. Let's say we decide to put a tree on here. Um, Basically, whatever it is you decide to use, these printers can print. This is Microsoft Paint, just Control P. So this could be to the rogue sheet. I'm going to hit print. It's going to print a file. Paint image. And so when you go to print with this, it's going to finish the print there. Should have there's paint image. And so we have the rogue sheet with the tree, the clouds, mountains. It also doesn't have to be from Paint. So we downloaded the Surfer Dude. This here's a PNG file, it says. So if I open this, I can just do Control P directly from here. Rogue sheet, print. And you don't get the customize ability of being able to remove dots and stuff like that if you just go directly to it. But if I Surfer Dude, PNG, hit save. And so what this is going to do, this is actually going to look really weird. I'm going to give you that warning already, because what it's going to do is it's going to take all the colors and it's going to translate those into patterns. So if I come back here and refresh, it should have Surfer Dude. So we have all the colors. We have the tan that just went into the squares. We have the orange up here. We have the bricks, the blue on the surfboard. But if you decide you want to do that differently, you can go to printers, scanners, and you just find your printer here. So I'm going to do the rogue sheet, file, and I'm going to go into the printing preferences, select the Tiger menu, more options, and then I can uncheck apply patterns. And then this goes back to kind of our older style of printing of multi-dot heights for colors. So I can do the same file here, Control P, print this again. Let's say Surfer Dude, help if I could spell. Surfer Dude, PNG, no pattern, and hit save. And refresh. And so this is going to be a little bit cleaner. Again, you don't get to choose like the different contrast and the brightness. So, if you really want to edit it, you can bring it into Tiger Designer, which is pretty easy to do. But if you want something quick and dirty, it's easy to hit print from anything. If you have a JPEG, if you have all kinds of stuff. I know Lindsay does Adobe Illustrator a lot. And she's figured out a couple things in there, like when you're creating stuff. I think she said a 2-pixel line does really well with the dots having a single dot width, but it makes it wide enough that it's very pronounced, smooth line. So yeah, you can print from pretty much anywhere. We've kind of covered everything I was planning on covering. I wanted to have about 10 to 15 minutes at the end for questions.